I compared tax returns in 5 countries. New Zealand made me want to leave America. I just spent $4,000 comparing my tax returns across 5 countries, and what I found in New Zealand made me physically ill about living in America. But before I show you the shocking breakdown that'll make you question everything, here's something your accountant will never tell you. This is my actual U.S. tax return. $47,000 paid in taxes last year. And this is what New Zealand taxpayers get for paying less. And I mean, just look at this. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me show you something even crazier first. So here's what I did. I took the exact same income, $85,000 a year, and calculated the real tax burden in 5 countries. United States, United States. New Zealand, New Zealand. Germany, Germany. Sweden, Sweden. Canada, Canada. But here's the thing nobody talks about. It's not just about how much you pay. It's about what you get. And when you see what Americans are actually funding with their tax dollars versus what New Zealanders get, it's honestly criminal. Now, before we dive into the actual returns, and trust me, you're going to want to screenshot what I'm about to show you. Let me ask you something. Drop a comment right now. What percentage of your income do you think you pay in total taxes? Not just income tax, everything. Property, sales tax, payroll, healthcare, all of it. Most people guess around 20 to 25%. The real number? We'll get to that. And it's going to shock you. All right, let's start with the country everyone loves to hate on. United States. $85,000 income. Here's the breakdown. Federal income tax, $12,500. State income tax, California, $4,800. Social Security and Medicare, $6,500. Sales tax, average annual $2,100. Property tax, average $3,200. Total, $29,100. That's a 34.2% effective rate. But here's what nobody shows you. This doesn't include the hidden costs that function like taxes. Health insurance premiums? That's another $6,000 to $8,000 a year. And that's before you even see a doctor. Student loans? Most Americans with bachelor's degrees are paying $300 to $500 a month. That's another $6,000 annually. Add healthcare. Real effective rate jumps to 42%. 42%. Let that sink in. Now here's the million-dollar question. What do you actually get for that 42%? Here's where it gets wild. Over 50% of discretionary federal spending, the money Congress votes on every year, goes to military and defense. The U.S. defense budget for 2025 is $893 billion. That's more than the next 10 countries combined, including China and Russia. Meanwhile, healthcare, education, infrastructure, crumbs, and you still pay out of pocket for all of it. Think about that. You're paying 42% of your income, and you still can't afford to get sick. Now, before I show you New Zealand, which is absolutely wild, let me show you why Sweden isn't actually the tax nightmare you've been told. Because this completely flips the script. Sweden, everyone's favorite socialist hellhole, boogeyman. Same $85,000 income. That's about 892,000 Swedish kronor. Municipal income tax, around $28,500, 32%. Social contributions, about $6,000, 7%. VAT, built into all prices you see, already included 25% on most goods. Total direct taxes, $34,500. That's about 40% effective rate. I know what you're thinking, see? Way higher taxes. But hold on. Watch this. What you get in Sweden. White heavy checkmark universal health care. Zero out-of-pocket for doctor visits, hospitals, specialists. White heavy checkmark university tuition. Completely free. Even for master's degrees, white heavy checkmark childcare. Capped at $150 per month max. No matter your income, white heavy checkmark paid parental leave. 480 days. That's 16 months. At 80% pay, white heavy checkmark vacation. 5 weeks minimum, guaranteed by law. White heavy checkmark free dental care until age 23. White heavy checkmark state pension, fully funded. You're not gambling on the stock market for retirement. White heavy checkmark. Unemployment insurance, up to 60% of your salary. White heavy checkmark sick days, unlimited with doctor's note, 80% pay. In America, just healthcare premiums plus 1 year of childcare plus student loans for a 4-year degree equals $24,000 every year. Sweden's extra 6% in taxes literally saves you $18,000. You're not paying more. You're paying less. The math doesn't lie. Germany, similar story, different flavor. $85,000 income, about 78,000 euros. Total income tax and social contributions, around $30,000. That's roughly 38% effective rate. But healthcare, university tuition, vocational training, all included. Plus, real workers' rights. 6 weeks paid vacation. Unlimited sick days with doctor verification. Public health insurance covers dental, vision, even nursing care when you're old. Real effective rate compared to US when you factor in benefits? Actually 12% lower. Germany's literally giving you a raise by taxing you. Canada, America's polite neighbor with a better health care. Here's where it gets spicy. Federal tax, around $12,000. Provincial tax, Ontario example, about $7,000. Canada pension plan and employment insurance, $4,000. Total, $23,000. That's 27%. But add sales tax, and it climbs to about 32 to 35%, depending on province. What you get? White heavy checkmark universal health care, doctor visits, hospital stays, surgeries, zero cost. White heavy checkmark prescription drug costs, $0 to $30 per prescription in most provinces. White heavy checkmark university tuition, $4,000 to $6,000 per year, not $60,000. White heavy checkmark maternity leave, 12 to 18 months with income support. A Canadian making $85,000 has more take-home purchasing power than an American making the same, because they're not hemorrhaging money on healthcare and education. But none of them are the one that made me want to leave America. And now, New Zealand. This is the one that broke my brain. Same 85,000 US dollars. That converts to about 140,000 New Zealand dollars in 2025. Income tax after New Zealand's 2024 tax bracket adjustments, around $22,000. That's an effective rate of about 26%. GST, that's their sales tax built into every price, 15% flat. Adds roughly $4,000 to $5,000 on average annual spending. ACC levy, that's their Accident Compensation Corporation, covers all accidents for everyone, even tourists, about $2,000. Total, approximately $28,000 to $29,000. That's a 32 to 34% effective rate, about the same as America's base rate. Some years, actually lower. But now, watch what you get for that money. Universal health care, and I mean real universal health care. White heavy checkmark doctor visits, $20 to $65 copay, heavily subsidized. Low income, often free with a community services card. White heavy checkmark hospital stays, surgeries, emergency care, completely free. White heavy checkmark prescriptions, $5 to $15 maximum per medication. White heavy checkmark accident coverage through ACC, totally free. Car accident, sports injury, workplace incident, all covered. Even if you're a tourist just visiting. White heavy checkmark mental health services, free or heavily subsidized. White heavy checkmark maternity care, prenatal, birth, postnatal, completely free. No $40,000 hospital bill for having a baby. Education, white heavy checkmark public schools, world ranked, completely free. White heavy checkmark university tuition, $5,000 to $8,000 per year, subsidized by government. Compare that to $50,000 to $70,000 in the U.S. White heavy checkmark trade schools and polytechnics, heavily subsidized, often free for first-time students. Infrastructure and quality of life. White heavy checkmark roads that are actually maintained. No constant potholes. White heavy checkmark public transport that actually works in major cities. White heavy checkmark clean drinking water everywhere. No Flint, Michigan situations. White heavy checkmark 4 weeks paid vacation minimum by law. Not 2 weeks you feel guilty taking white heavy checkmark sick leave. 10 days minimum, protected by law. Let me say this one more time, slower, so it really sinks in. After New Zealand adjusted their tax brackets in 2024, which lowered the burden for middle-income earners in 2025, you pay roughly the same effective rate as America. And you get subsidized health care, affordable education, maintained infrastructure, protected workers' rights, and a social safety net that actually catches you when you fall. USA, 42% real rate, with health care, 50% of discretionary budget to military, pay your own health care, pay your own education, crumbling infrastructure. New Zealand, 32 to 34% real rate health care, covered education, subsidized infrastructure, maintained workers protected. I can't unsee this. And now, neither can you. Now you might be thinking, but America is richer. We have more freedom. We're number one. Let me show you one more thing that'll completely shatter that illusion. According to the OECD Better Life Index and World Health Organization data for 2025, bar chart healthcare system performance. USA, ranked number 37 globally. New Zealand, ranked number 18. We pay more for worse healthcare. 37th, out of developed nations. Bar chart life expectancy. USA, 79.1 years. New Zealand, 82.5 years. New Zealanders live 3.5 years longer on average. Bar chart World Happiness Index. USA, ranked 23 to 24. New Zealand, ranked number 10. Bar chart economic mobility, your chance to move up in social class. USA, ranked number 27. New Zealand, ranked 12 to 15. So let me get this straight. We pay more in taxes when you include health care. 4 worse health outcomes, shorter lives, less happiness, and less opportunity to climb the economic ladder. The American dream? The data says it's more alive in New Zealand than it is here. So where is our money going? $893 billion on military in 2025. We spend more than China, Russia, India, the UK, Saudi Arabia, Germany, France, South Korea, Japan, and Ukraine combined. Meanwhile, New Zealand spends 1% of GDP on defense and about 11% on healthcare. America? We spend 3.5% of GDP on defense and 8.5% on healthcare, but you still have to pay for insurance, deductibles, copays, and pray you don't get a surprise bill. It's not sustainable. It's not fair. And it's not the best system in the world like we've been told. Look, I love America. I really do. I grew up here. My family's here. I have incredible memories, amazing friends, opportunities I'm grateful for. But when I look at these documents, when I see the math laid out in black and white, when I see that we're paying more to get objectively less, while being told we live in the greatest country on earth, and we should be grateful. It makes me angry, and it should make you angry too, because this isn't about Republican or Democrat. This isn't about left or right, conservative or liberal. This is about math. This is about your money and what you're actually getting for it. And right now, Americans are getting robbed in broad daylight, and we're told to smile and say thank you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to calculate your real tax rate. Add up everything. Income tax, payroll tax, sales tax, property tax, health insurance premiums, student loan payments, all of it. Then divide by your gross income. Drop that number in the comments. Let's build a database. Let's see what Americans are really paying versus what we're getting. And if this video made you angry, if it made you think, wait, what? Then share it. Send it to your family. Post it on your Instagram story. Tweet it. Whatever. Because people need to see this. This information doesn't get shown on the evening news. Now, should you actually leave America? That's deeply personal. I'm not telling you to pack your bags tomorrow, but at least now you know what the trade-offs actually are. You're making an informed choice. Oh, and one more thing I didn't mention. In New Zealand, your taxes are automatically calculated and filed for you by the government. It's called an automatic tax assessment. You don't need an accountant. You don't need TurboTax. You don't spend hours figuring out deductions. They just do it for you. And if you overpaid, they refund you automatically. Because they're not running an $11 billion tax preparation industry designed to keep the system complicated so companies like Intuit can profit off your confusion. But that's a rabbit hole for another day. If you want to see how to actually move to one of these countries, the visa process, the real costs, the cultural adjustments, I broke it all down in this video. Click that card right there. Thanks for watching. And hey, don't just get mad. Get informed. Then decide what you're going to do about it. I'll see you in the next one.